Yo, it's JSF. And I think if you look at fighting games in a general sense, or from a casual standpoint, or from just a spectator standpoint, right? A lot of fighting games can look really similar. You can look at Street Fighter, look at Mortal Kombat. I think they're very similar games. If you don't really understand what's going on, even if you think like the combo structure and stuff like that is different, it's one character versus one character. This character jumps here, flies over across the screen here. What's really the difference? But I want to talk about how the neutral for both games is so different. Like why Street Fighter is more highly regarded as a neutral-based fighting game, and Mortal Kombat 11 is literally Mario Party. But I do want to key in and specifically talk about certain types of moves, which I talked about before. But I want to talk about the specific difference because I mean I don't know if everybody knows this, and I know some people don't, right? We'll see some people say, well, how is Mortal Kombat scrubby and not Street Fighter? When in Street Fighter, you can do E-Honda headbutt from full screen and hit your opponent. Or, you know, block a ball at your opponent or whatever. And maybe be plus on block or whatever. And I totally hear it, right? Like you got 3-frame invincible reversal uppercut, blah, 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 blah. I hear you. I totally understand that, right? And don't get me wrong, this video is not saying Street Fighter has no scrubby shit in it. Just watch like people lose to V-Trigger and you will see some rage. But I do want to point out something like a specific design choice that Street Fighter has that Mortal Kombat ignored. And I think this is something that's like, I think that it just kind of goes hand in hand with the biggest issue with this game, which I was going to make a video on and I still might. Basically, this game tried to reinvent fighting games without understanding fighting games, right? So, like I say all the time, NetherRealm doesn't really understand fighting games and why they are the way they are. And they tried to change things and reinvent things. And when you don't know where the baseline is and you make changes to it, you can fuck things up and ruin the game. So, basically, I have a Sub-Zero and Jade here, right? Jade has her lovely shadow kick, which we all know. 12 frames startup. It's not reactable. I don't care what you say or where you're from. You're not reacting to 12 frames. Human reaction time is slower than 12 frames. And if you're around in this range, you're going to get hit, right? You're going to. Now, in this game, you have the lovely feature where you can duck moves like this that are typically highs, right? This Johnny Cage's shadow kick, I believe, is 11 frames, but they're highs, right? For the most part, you know, Jackie's dash punch, etc. Then we have Sub-Zero here. His slide is 11 frames. Goes further. Obviously, you can't react to it, and it's a low. I already made a video about why Sub-Zero is a problem, so I'm not going to go into details about it, but he shuts down the neutral, right? The thing about this is, and the difference between like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter when it comes to this type of shit, is where if I was to pick E-Honda, right, and I want to headbutt you, headbutt is a charge move, right? So that means in Street Fighter, it is like 2.4 seconds or something. It's 2 to 3 seconds that you have to hold backwards, then press forwards and press a button. Now, here's where the game being skill-based, knowledge-based, and neutral-based comes in handy. Yeah, characters have moves like that are powerful, 100%. But the thing is, they have to have charge to do them 9 times out of 10. Think about it. Urian shoulder tackle, block a ball, a Honda headbutt, Balrog's dash punch. Like, Balrog's EX, his EX straight punch or whatever the fuck it's called is plus on block. It's like +1. And it's a fuck neutral move. He can hit you from like here, right? Dash up, boom, and then he's plus, and he can jab after, right? But he needs charge, and it costs him a bar meter to do it. So yeah, he can get out of neutral free, but there's a cost to it. With Sub-Zero here, this doesn't cost me shit. I can literally slide and hit you from way back here with an unreactable low attack, and it doesn't cost me anything. There's no cooldown on it. Once I get out of recovery, I can just spam it over and over and over again, right? Same with Jade's shadow kick, right? And the thing about Jade is, with her, they encourage you to do it because if you land 2 in a row, you get a crushing blow for it. So not only does it like allow this play style that you can just shoot these moves out over and over and over again, it encourages you to do it. And I don't care what anybody says, new players who don't understand fighting games, who don't understand the complexity of any of this shit, because I play with casual players and competitive players, right? And I play with casual players who pick Jade, and they know that if I hit you with another one of these, I get the big damage. That's all they know. It doesn't take a scientist to realize that, right? If I hit you with 2 in a row, boom, big damage. So it encourages them to do this, right? And which just bypasses neutral. And that's the thing I'm talking about. In Street Fighter, that doesn't exist because after you land the move, you have to build the charge again, right? Like Guile's Sonic Boom is one of the best fireballs in the history of fighting games. You know why it's so good? Because it's a charge move. He can't just do it as many times as Ryu can do his fireball, right? Barring any V-trigger shenanigans, right? And it's the same thing with reversals, right? The same thing for reversals, right? Now, in this game, in Mortal Kombat 11, right? Oh, shit. Hold up. In Mortal Kombat 11, they locked actual reversals behind Wake Up, right? So the only real invincible reversals, like Wake Up 3 is completely invincible, Wake Up 2 is air invincible, and you get a combo off of it, right? So they locked reversals behind a Wake Up wall, which is how they did it. Now, this doesn't change down twos or anything like that, right? But in Street Fighter, like you have invincible reversals like DPs and stuff like that. But for some of them, like Guile's Flash Kick, it's a down charge, right? So you gotta charge and you gotta have the charge to do the move. Other moves are DPs or Shoryukens, right? For those of you who don't know, the Shoryuken input is forward and then basically a Hadouken. So it's just like a Z input, forward, down, forward, punch, right? So for those of you who don't know, I think everybody knows this, but Street Fighter is a back-to-block game. The reason is designed, I can't say the complete reason is designed this way. I can't do that. I wasn't around in the 90s when they created the input, but some of the genius behind that input design is back-to-block and is forward to do DP. So if you want to do this move, you have to either do it in recovery frames, like coming out of hit stun or block stun or wake up or something, or you have to be moving forward. So you can't be blocking. You literally can't be mashing DP and blocking at the same time. It's not possible, right? And I know Mortal Kombat has a block button. You can't be holding block button and mashing anything, but I'm saying there is a catch to all of these moves. Like the shit that you see in Street Fighter that seems nuts, there's a catch to it. That game is not riddled with OSs and shit like that. Sure, you can call like crouch teching or something in OS, but like that helps you break throws or something. And I don't even know if crouch teching is in Street Fighter 5. In this game, it's OS. I don't have to get strike or throw. I can OS it, like all shit like that. The only OS that's really in Street Fighter is buffering, and that's really not an OS. That's just doing this and not getting a button on whiff. And then if let's let Sub-Zero do it. Let's let Sub-Zero do it. Like that, right? Where he's doing the same exact input, but if I'm in range to block it or get hit, I'll get hit, right? This is a universal fighting game thing. This has been around for years. This is always going to be around. It's just literally doing an input and adding more just in case you reach your opponent, right? That's about it. Something I forgot to mention is there are obviously exceptions to these rules and the things I'm saying. Like you could say G has a advancing fuck neutral type special move that isn't a charged move. There are always going to be certain exceptions, right? But I'd rather the game where the crazy shit is the exception, where it's not the rule. Like in Mortal Kombat, almost every character has some kind of fuck neutral advancing charge move or a teleport. In Street Fighter, it's extremely uncommon to have any type of teleport. In the moves like Blanca Ball and shit, 9 times out of 10 are charge moves and are reactable unless you do like the heavy version, which is usually the most minus version of the move, etc. And again, there is some crazy, don't get me wrong, there are some ridiculous EX moves, right? And the thing is with DPs, there are no invincible DPs that are meterless anymore, which is the Street Fighter 5 change that they made that a lot of people didn't like, but I totally understood it, right? So people can't just mash regular DP in block strings or wake up, etc. like that. They got to do the EX version, which not only is it's invincible and it's more damage for them, but it's also more unsafe 9 times out of 10 as well. And the other things like the more broken shit is usually limited to V-Trigger. And V-Trigger, if you don't know, is it has its own separate bar that you either build by getting beat up or by using your V-skill. It's kind of a comeback mechanic, so some characters have some crazy wild looking shit they can do, but it's only in V-Trigger. And then when V-Trigger runs out, it has a meter, it runs out, then you can't do it anymore, right? Last thing is that it's a back-to-block game. Back to block, and you don't have to press a button to block, so it's much easier to react to things like that. Most of the moves are reactable. If they're EX, sometimes sure you can say they're not reactable, but it isn't like Mortal Kombat where like Sub-Zero slide, you have to be preemptively crouch blocking, which means you can't move. because he can slide at any moment, right? And he can slide and you can't react to that. And when you're crouch blocking, you know, trying to respect the slide, that's when he just dashes up and hits you with the overhead, right? So shit like that is what I'm trying to get across. Forgot to add some of this in the video, but yeah. So yeah, I guess this is a short video, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because I've seen some people say some things about it. Like, oh, but Street Fighter has scrubby shit too. It's not just Mortal Kombat. It's like, well, no, in other games, there's counterplay. There's a mind game to it because, like, if you're fighting a character who has one of those moves and it relies on charge, you can literally say, how long has he been holding down or walking backwards, right? Now I know he has charge. If he's walking forward, if Guile is walking forward, he cannot Sonic Boom or Flash Kick you. He can't do it. He doesn't have access to those moves, right? So you know if you're paying attention, you're rewarded for your knowledge and the fact that you're paying attention. Because now you don't have to account for it. He doesn't have a reversal if he's walking forward, right? He doesn't have it. He doesn't have a fireball if he's walking forward, right? Same with like E Honda, right? He's got a, you know, down back or back charge or whatever to do his headbutt. If he's coming forward, he doesn't have it. If he's sitting like this or walking backwards, then yeah, he's probably getting ready to do that move. But in this game, fucking Jade can just jump around, throw air projectiles, and then do this, right? Down for you, whatever the fuck. And when you're trying to duck the shadow kick, because it's not really the easiest thing to punish in the world, because even on block, she can enhance it. So you're trying to duck it so you can get the good punish. You get hit with an overhead. And I know her overhead's very slow. They tried to make it super slow, etc. I get it, but then you can get thrown, and then the lag can hit, and just shit like that. Like, this doesn't exist in Street Fighter. You're not gonna get hit with an overhead from this far away. It just doesn't exist. And I don't mean, it's not even really a Street Fighter thing. It's kind of just Mortal Kombat versus other games. And it's kind of like, I want to create more understanding of why I talk about this game the way that I do, because I understand fighting games. Like in other fighting games, a lot of that shit just isn't a thing. Like, it's just really not. Like, it's just really, really not. Like, even in a game like Dragon Ball, where you can fly all over the screen and do all kind of wild shit, you can't get hit with an overhead from this far away. Like, they can jump at you, air dash at you, and do it normal, but you have all that time to react to it. There is no button that just reaches this far, no matter how slow it supposedly is, right? But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. This game is literally Mario Parties to Wild Wild West, and I know other games seem like they got scrubby shit in them, but trust me, there are higher layers, or deeper layers, I should say, of design to those choices, right? It's not just like, oh, people just mash DP on hit. Yes, they do, but you can bait it. You know what I mean? Or if your combo is an actual, if you don't drop your combo, the DP will never come out. If you bait the DP, it's like minus 25 or something, which in Street Fighter is crazy because they have 3-frame buttons, right? You can literally block an EX DP while you're on block, while they're still in the move animation. You can neutral jump and get a full jump in punish for them doing that move. It's incredibly unsafe. There's nothing that's really that unsafe in this game, right? So yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. If y'all enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing to your boy. And I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all stay safe. JSF, I'm out of here. Peace.